Okay. You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. The stream is live, just so you know. I don't want to catch you off guard. I want to be fair about this.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. All right. Let me just say hi to the audience, and then we'll get right into it. Everybody watching, this is the stream that we both agreed to do, Crowd and I. A 1v1, as it were, to talk about everything, I guess, from the end of 2017 up until recently. Now, I know you've gone around trying to clear your name or give your side of the story. You disagree with the narrative you say is out there. So I'm willing to give you a fair shake and hear you out on this. So, where would you like to begin? Where do you think we should begin?
Oh, it's your stream, please. You.
Okay. Well, I guess we can just start it at the very beginning. I mean, I'll start it with Rage After Storm. I think is kind of
Yeah,
the
sure.
impetus of everything. Now, what is your take on your involvement with Rage After Storm? I know you put out tweets, and I know you put out a video saying
Hmm.
that you felt.
Yeah,
Oh, go ahead.
I made a stupid tweet. That's what I made
Okay.
at the blog Kipper Central. I deleted the tweet within 20 minutes of making it, and even made a tweet that I shouldn't have done that. Then a week later, she's driven off the internet, and another week after that, my tweet is brought up again. So that's how I see it. That's why I refuse to apologize a second time, more or less.
Right, right. Do you still feel she's a Nazi bitch queen, as you put it?
I wouldn't put it like that anymore.
Okay. Because I went over the videos that I did
Hmm.
to try to reestablish the timeline, and I went over some of the stuff that was out there. I know she put out her Race is Real video on the 24th of June.
Hmm.
You had gone on a stream with Andy Worski and Jeff Holiday and a few other people
Hmm.
on the 28th of June. The very next
Yeah.
night after that stream, you tweeted out to Kipper Central.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
Jeff Holiday has made multiple statements after, I'd say within the span of a couple months of her basically being deplatformed, however you want to express it. And
Hmm.
I want to give an exact quote here. Make no mistake, we bullied the shit out of Rage after Storm. We bullied her off social media. We bullied the fuck out of her. And then he
Hmm.
followed that up with another statement. Fuck that dumb bitch. We bullied her. Talking
Well,
about
he doesn't
getting,
speak for me,
yeah,
does he now? These are his words, are they?
right. But
That's what he
when
said.
you, yeah, but I think what people find strange, right,
Hmm.
is when the Rage thing happened, it was you and Holiday on the same stream.
Hmm.
He
And
he took
Andy
part.
Worski and
Yep.
that girl with an opinion and some black guy.
Yep. No, it was you two together on the stream, and yet out of all those people, I mean, you bring up Andy Worski, some black guy, that girl with an opinion. I'm not sure about that girl. I think she might have been in the Discord server, but when the Discord server was established, I mean, both you and Holiday ended up in there together.
Hmm. So you think that ties it all to the Discord server?
Well, I think it shows some cooperation, or at least a similar
Hmm.
mindset when you were dealing with Rage.
I guess there was a similar mindset months before that rage thing, because there were conversations with people, and if you don't mind, I wouldn't like to mention some of them because they probably don't want to get dragged into this again.
Yeah, that's fine.
Um,
Say whatever you want, man. It's up to
the,
you.
yeah, there were conversations about making videos on the alt right months before this, like in starting almost in April 2017, I think.
Yeah.
That's probably when it started. There was a server before the initial server. Um, JF was actually in that one,
Now,
and it just went nowhere.
was that one run by Habib as well, or is that run by somebody
No, that was
different?
run by me. That was run by me.
So the previous
All
server
the
to
servers
this
are run
one.
by me. Yeah, no, the previous server to the what we called the Task Force server was also run by me, but it went nowhere. So I shut it down, frustrated, and didn't do anything with it for a month, and then made a new one and tried it again. But the thing is that I wanted to get back to, it wasn't even me or Jeff who bullied Rage After Storm off the internet.
Okay, who do you believe bullied her off the internet?
Linkin Park fans.
Lincoln Park fans. Why would Jeff Holiday take credit for getting her off the internet then if he had no hand in it?
I don't know why he would do that.
Is Jeff Holiday a known liar?
Maybe he's getting things confused. I don't know. But the tweets that drove her off the internet are still out there. Do I send them to you via Skype or via Twitter? What would you prefer?
Send them via Twitter, and I will, like I said, if you got something you want me to show, send it to me and I'll put it up.
Well, you don't necessarily have to show it. Everyone can look this up themselves. It's just a few screen caps I took. You can see them dated to the 22nd of July, when the lead singer of Linkin Park committed suicide. She made several tweets about how he deserved to die because he was a Jewish degenerate, blah, 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 all sorts of stuff like that. And she got a massive shitstorm hammered down on her. And the tweets of this shitstorm are still up there for everyone to see. There's even a Reddit thread where people organized to drive her off the internet when that happened.
Now, this tweet you're showing me is from July 21st, 2017 from Rage, saying he was a selfish asshole for killing himself. He had 6 kids.
Yes.
And you're
There's
saying...
several other tweets she made.
Yeah.
Several other tweets she made as well. I found one more. Wait a moment. I just have to give you this other screen cap first. There are several tweets she made, and the reaction she got was pretty nasty, and she left. And the thing is, when she left, she also made a statement that she didn't leave because of that. She made a statement that she was restructuring what she was doing on YouTube.
Yeah, well, here's what I find awkward about this, and I'm going to go back to the timeline when we're talking about this. So her video hits on the 24th. 4 days later, you guys get together and you do your stream. A day later, you're contacting Kipper Central. You know, one of the weird things about this entire thing is after you had contacted Kipper Central, the very next day, Soledad O'Brien starts tweeting about Rage After Storm and about Kipper Central. Soledad O'Brien, the reporter. Now,
he's a journalist. Okay.
Yeah, she's a journalist. Now, the weird thing is, Kipper Central has barely any followers. I mean, at the time they were like 400 or 500. It just seems very bizarre, the timing of that, especially when you consider what seems to be an association between yourself, your Discord, and just journalists in general when it comes to alt-right figures.
I have no idea who that journalist is, and I have not talked to that journalist in regards to Rage After Storm whatsoever.
So
the only other thing I did was when that shit was brought up again, when that stuff was brought up again. Okay, I was first really fucking angry that it was brought up again because I already made a tweet. But I also conceded that if it was true that I had gotten her fired, that I would have no other choice to apologize. I conceded that I was getting ready to make an apology video, but I wanted to make sure that if that would actually be the case. So I emailed the owner of the blog and asked him if I got her fired. And he emailed me back that I didn't. I can send you these emails as well if you want.
Yeah, no, I am familiar with those because I did read them when you put them up initially, and I think this is going to be one of the themes when we go forward talking about these different things is action versus intent.
Yes.
The intent that you had behind contacting Kipper Central obviously wasn't. I mean,
wasn't noble.
No, it wasn't noble. It was malicious.
Yeah, it was malicious. It was spurgy, stupid, and I freely admit that.
Okay, so we've got you doing something that's malicious. We've got Jeff Holiday after the fact, repeatedly in video form and in written form.
I can't speak for Jeff Holiday. I want to make that clear. Like, there is this idea out there that I somehow represent this entire group of YouTubers. I don't speak for them. I don't represent them. I don't tell them what they do. Neither do they tell me what.
Yeah, but to be fair, though, I mean, you did just earlier when we were talking about the server and the one previous say that these are your servers.
Yes.
These are people you're working with on this project regarding the alt-right.
The working with thing is a bit doubtful, to be honest. Like, the biggest problem that that's from my perspective, admittedly, not from an outsider's perspective. The biggest problem I had is I had a shit ton of people join these servers telling, oh yeah, this is a great idea, I'm going to work on this and that and that, and then they just lazily sat around and didn't do anything. That's, work, like, I wanted these people to do their own things. I wanted them, where the academics response meme comes from, to ask the various biologists and psychologists that I gathered together to help them out with research for videos, and then do those videos.
Okay. Well,
I don't know
going.
why.
Oh,
Why are you bringing up Jeff? Because Jeff has kind of completely moved on this.
oh,
He's making his
I
videos
can
on pseudoscience.
I can tell you why I'm bringing up Jeff on this because
Hmm.
again I want to establish both a timeline and involvement of yourself and the people associated with you in regards
Hmm.
to this project, and I think to
Okay,
do
yeah,
that.
sure.
I think to do that, I'm going to reference something else that was publicly stated in regards to
Hmm.
yourself and the people you were associating with. This is up publicly on Wizard of Cause's timeline.
Hmm.
I damned you the tweets. I'm going to put them up on screen so people can take a look at them here,
Yes,
so they
sure.
know that I'm not fucking about, so they can see that these are what I say they are. And this is a conversation between Sandre Speaks and Wizard of Cause in regards to everything that was kind of going on. This is back in August of 2018.
Hmm.
So let me just pull this up and I'll read through them. And then I want to get your reaction to what they're saying in regards to just everything. Okay?
Hmm.
This starts with Sandre, moves on to Wizard, and David Charat was a part of this conversation, but obviously he changed his handle, so those aren't showing up anymore. Sandre is talking. Kraut's
I
channel is.
can wait before you start. I can still see them. David's tweets. So if you want to read David's tweets as well, I can share my screen if you want, and you could see them as well.
Okay, well,
Or
when we get to it. So from Sandre, it starts at the very top, 29th of August. Kraut's channel has been flagged down. Wizard responds, that sucks. Good thing he doesn't have any kids to support or would really suck on a professional level. Fuck, wait, I forgot. I'm supposed to feel sympathy for channels that eat shit due to dog shit mobbing by imbeciles. My bad. Sandra responds by saying, you may feel whatever. I don't care about crusades either, but I'm not suggesting anyone defend Kraut, but a principle. Also, nobody is forcing you. You can just ignore this, and that is how you feel you should. Wizard responds, let's glance back on where principle got me, shall we? Where the outrage when I was being lambasted. This is a flagging and outrage war raged by shitbags and shitbag audiences who somehow came to rise to the top of the cup. This is a market dominated by selective outrage. This bullshit war, waged by someone who was told there were better ways, cost me the ability to provide for my family. Most of that is on the dog shit outrage blood sports scene. But when that's raised otherwise and met with, I won't be treated this way, shit, fuck it all. Sandra responds, and I know this is a bit long, but we'll get to it. Sandra responds, everyone was lambasted. Again, I understand you. I'm just pointing this out. I'm not acting like a guardian and is defending Kraut as a person. Just the fact that he's not deserving of false accusations of flagging. You have the option to ignore all of this, and I think you should. Wizard responds, did I have anything to do with this fuckery? No. I wasn't deserving of false accusations, but no one came to my aid, did they? And tonight, as I tried to give him honest advice, he found himself above reproach for what he cost me. He's too good. Fuck him. Zonda responds, did anyone come to any of our aid? No, my name was dragged in the mud too. Just like anyone who just happened to be in that server. Again, not defending him as a person, but a principle. Want to ignore it? Fine. Nobody is blaming you. Wizard, did you feed yourself or your kid off of what you built that was torn down? Don't try to equate the two. That was what I had to move forward from. A nightmare. It worked well. This is a fucking crusade that happened. He was flagged. He'll be back and fine. Everyone is fine. I died and had to rely on charity. I'd have liked to thank my people, or I'd like to, I'm guessing, thank my people in a better fashion, but thankfully they saved me. But oh, he started a war, dragging others into it, and acted like a cunt when offered advice. Ask him. And I should feel bad for him. Fuck him, up and down. Sandra responds, I never said you should feel bad for him. It's just about a principle. However, again, sit that one out, and you should. Wizard, principle. The whole thing started because that fuck's ego was so big, he thought it was cool to start a YouTube jihad over a personal gripe with someone he built up and then dragged a bunch of others down with him. Never showed him an ounce of remorse for what he cost anyone. Sandre, again, I understand and even agree, Kraut is a spurg. I've lost my patience with him too, although he's a friend. But it's not even about him, but a principle. For the last time, ignore if you wish, nobody is blaming you. And finally, Wizard, more than a spurg. He's a soapalistic fuck. Neither he nor anyone gave a fuck when his crusade and the scumfucks who made their bones about it destroyed my livelihood. Principle, he created this environment, reap what you fucking sow. And then finally, from the other, I sent you two links. From the other one, it's much shorter. Wizard is responding to Discord spies, Charat, saying, you're one to talk. It's funny how both of you fucked yourselves by tongue clicking when good advice was offered. Difference is with him, he took others down with him, and in place of an apology for what happened to me, he instead lamented losing his own shit. Shall we revisit when you were frantic about your lady friend? The place this all began. The help you begged me for. The way I told you directly not to bring that reckless imbecile in, and how he fucked that all up. I had nothing to do with his crusade, and all my shit died for it. Now,
Sherrod responds with, that stuff is in the past.
Mm-hmm.
That was a fuck-up, but it was a lost cause before it even started. It's ended, and I'm better off for it. 2, you joined the server. You wanted to burn alt-righters as much as anyone else. And I remember you talking about how you should, quote, use Trout as a weapon. Then Wizard responds again.
Yep. So what I've noticed when these people are talking about this, when you see a charade,
I can give you the exact context of that conversation.
Well, I read the content. Let me just ask my question first. So when I'm reading these conversations between people on the outside, when it's Charade talking, when it's Sandre talking, when it's Wizard of Cause talking, a few themes keep coming up. One is their disdain for you. You're referred to multiple times as basically a fucking moron. And also talking about your war, the autistic jihad, the crusade against the alt-right, and talking about how this was something that was pushed heavily from the beginning. I know, initially the list of people in the alt-right was called a targets list, and it was changed to persons of interest. And you said, well, we're just researching videos. But when you pair what what Wizard of Cause, what Nick is saying, with the conversations that are going on the outside, right? And you look at statements that Jeff Holiday has made, another person that was in the server, talking about how you bully, he bullied, he's taking credit, he said, bullied Rage off of the internet. We taught her a lesson, basically. We shoved her off. When you take this all together, it makes it seem like this wasn't just an effort to counter what you saw as alt-right propaganda on YouTube, but to do damage and remove people that you had, as they put it, a crusade, a jihad, or a war against.
Well, the context of that conversation is that it's the first time I talked to Nick since about... That was in August 2018, the last time I talked to Nick. Before that was in the beginning of January. And the thing with Nick is he was in my server and he legit almost did nothing. Like, he wasn't even interested. He was in there. I kept asking him why he was even in there because he didn't do anything there. He just wanted to make videos on other issues, and he said, well, maybe in a year or two I'll come back and work on something in that direction with you. But he was legit just not interested. But he still got the same amount of shit as anyone else. And he didn't deserve any of it, even if the things that we were accused of were true, because he was not involved. He had zero involvement. And yes, Nick takes it personally, and he blames it to a large extent on me. And this is something that I will have to personally at some point smooth out with Nick, talk to Nick, be honest with Nick about, because he got fucked for nothing. He didn't do anything. He had literal zero involvement. And you believe conversations like these in combinations to leaked images such as what is commonly referred to as the hit list make it look like I was trying to target people in general?
Well, yeah, I mean, again, and we're still building our way up to things, but I'm trying to at least keep it on a coherent timeline. But when you look at Jeff Holiday's statement, here you are, here Jeff is, both of you are in this server, both of you have issues with the alt-right, he's talking about how he got rage bullied off the internet. Now here's Wizard having a conversation with Charade, both of who, again, were in your server, talking about a war, a crusade. Sandre, again, another person was in the server, a jihad. It makes it sound like it's a hell of a lot more than just simply countering alt-right propaganda on the internet, and it makes it seem like there was, more. It was vindictive, malicious that Rage was after.
It makes it look really bad.
Well, I mean, Waz Lee was the one that said that himself. He said we need to change the target's name to something else because it's going to look horrible when people find it.
Do you know what the targets list was? I mean, the accusation was that I was gathering doxes in it.
Well, we will get into that with the stuff about Coach Red Pill, and also there's speculation too about what was Aiden Paladins.
I'm not talking about Coach Red Pill. I'm talking about the list. Do you know what that was? Did anyone ever tell you what it was? Did you make any statements about it? Because I've seen a lot of people claim that it contained docs or other stuff, but
Well, no, in
Have you ever actually?
in my video series, I was very clear. I focused more on the gay ops, which we'll be getting to, and I focused in the last part on CRP. I
I'm
avoided
going to send you
taking on
something
Aiden.
quickly.
Yep.
Here you go. This is the hit list, as you like to call it. This is what it is. The so-called hit list.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me pause this. I'll play it on stream here. 1 second.
Okay.
It's only 1:40, so it's not too long. Here we go. All right. You're probably not going to be able to hear me playing it, but I'll just tell
That's
you when I
fine.
started.
That's fine.
All right. So it's 1:42. It's a video crowd linked. I'll start it in 3, 2, 1.
The so-called hit list is an archiving bot that we wrote a script for. What it does is the bot targets the accounts of certain people on Twitter, people who we added into the bot script. What it does is whenever one of these people tweets, it grabs the tweet. It shows us with that speech bubble, for example, if a tweet is a response, with that arrow if it is just a tweet, and it grabs the tweet, it posts in that thread on Discord any images that may have been tweeted out with that tweet, the contents of the tweet in terms of its text, like here and here, and then it creates an archive link and posts the archive link together.
I'm pausing it at 52 seconds. Let me ask you 2 questions. One, the server we're talking about is the initial server. This looks like a different server.
That's the same thing.
but-
we moved it.
Yeah,
we
I
moved
mean,
it from one server to a different one.
Yeah, but you can claim that now because there's nothing left. It's been deleted. It's been wiped.
If you say so, yeah, okay, you can make that claim if you want. I'm telling you what we did was we set up a bot to archive people's tweets and to give us data on the social media behavior on people, how things spread, when people delete what gets retweeted. It has several purposes.
Okay.
The intention is for me to make a video on that.
Why wouldn't you?
That's basically what it was.
Why wouldn't you have made a video like this showing your alt-right persons of interest servers then? If it would clear it up that much, why didn't you do it
Well,
initially when the leaks happened?
That would have ruined the program, wouldn't it?
What do you mean the program?
It would have ruined the purpose of the bot.
Well, didn't you just do that now by explaining it to everybody?
Well, the bot has been observing everyone's Twitters for a year now.
Okay, and
It's fulfilled its purpose.
What was the purpose then of observing their Twitters?
The purpose was to figure out how propaganda and how certain messages, etc., spread through the internet. How messages are spread across. How people behave on social media. If there are specific media tactics or propaganda tactics. Also, initially, I have to admit, the intention was to prevent people from deleting tweets because we saw a couple of people making some nasty tweets and then deleting them before we could screen cap them. But then when we worked on it further, we figured this could be ideally used to observe social media behavior and make a video about that with that data.
Okay, but you have no records of the initial server. This is, again, the newer server.
I don't have it anymore.
Okay, so this is a completely different thing then than what we're talking about.
I moved the thing that we were doing in that list over to that server. It is still the same thing that we did. That is what we did.
Well, that's your claim that it's the same thing. Yes.
Yes, it's my claim. If you don't believe it, so be it.
Okay. All right. Let me pull up where were we here. All right. So we had the Rage After Storm incident. With the timing, we had Jeff's statements after that. We had the Wizard of Cause conversation with Sandre. All of these were people that were in the server that make it seem like it was more than simply countering alt-right propaganda. Again, using phrases like war, jihad, and crusade. Let's move into the Discord ops. And let's talk about when that started. Now, that was, I believe, or at least it started coming into prominence with the videos, so late August. Would you say that's fair?
It started... Depends which one. We did 2. Well, I did one. The other one was done by Sabi. Mine started in late August, yeah. Ended in November.
Wait, I'm confused.
And his started in October.
You said that all the servers were run by you, this one and the one before it, but now you're saying Sabi had their own?
No, Sabi ran one of them, the macro thing. The idea of creating a fake server, that was his idea.
Yeah, and we'll get to that. We'll get to red mackerel
Hmm.
in a moment here. One of the interesting things I noticed is there was a focus on CRP, and I mean we'll get to the main bulk of CRP stuff later. But I did notice this going back. It seems to me like the I guess main activity within the Discord and the video series and all of that started really gearing up in late August. And when I went back and looked at Coach Red Pill's videos on you specifically, and I timed that with when the Rage After Storm stuff got brought up again. His videos hit on July 26th, July 27th, and his third follow-up was near the end of August. Now, it would seem like, did he, I mean, is Coach Red Pill the one that pissed you off enough to go through all of this?
No, I didn't even know really who Coach Redpill was until a few weeks after he made those videos. Like the server existed way before Coach Redpill came onto my radar. The idea of the server even existed for quite a long time.
How
So,
long was
nah.
the idea of the server planned for?
Like I told you, since April 2017, that's when the first time a few people got together and talked about making videos on the alt-right, how we would organize that, etc., etc. And then I decided to make a server. The first one, which got deleted because nothing got done. There was a 1 month break, and then I made the other server, the
So,
one where the entire drama is around.
okay, and the initial server, was it structured like the second server, the one that everybody's most familiar with? I mean, were there people
No,
of interest in the alt-right that you were looking at? What was going on in the first server?
the first server was a complete chaos because it only had one text chat. I gave everyone who joined admin rights. Everyone kept making new threads. It just ended up a complete chaos. So I deleted it.
Okay. So, and this was, I think, the focus of my third video was really the Discord itself. Or the second video.
Hmm.
The third video was Kilroy, I believe. Um, when we get into like gay ops, when people are talking about that, and a lot of this comes from, you mentioned Zabby. Zabby is one of them. When you look at something like red mackerel and mincemeat, and again, I think this kind of goes back to when people are looking at Jeff Holliday's behavior and your behavior and the events that surrounded Rage After.
I am not responsible for Jeff Holliday's behavior. Like he can say jihad, war, and whatever he wants, but it's not representative of my behavior. What he does.
Well, you two are working in concert within this Discord. I mean, to say that you're
I
not associated with his actions is foolish.
I barely talk to him anymore at all at this
Yeah,
point.
but we're talking about at the time you were talking to him, and
Mhm.
we've heard the Skype conversations. Zeph leaked those on SoundCloud.
But he had like the Rage After Storm thing, the live stream that he went on had nothing to do with that server.
The second
That's
server,
just
but
something that's
you said the first server was up and running in April.
yeah. The first server was already gone by the time the Rage After Storm thing happened.
Was Jeff
It was
Holiday
already
involved
deleted.
in the first server?
I don't think he was even in it. It was me, Sandra, three other people. I have to be honest, I don't even exactly know who was in it. It was just a couple of people, smaller YouTubers, people ranging in the 10K, 20K subscriber range.
Okay. All right. Well, and again, going along with this, when we're talking about gay ops, you've got Zabby who's talking about red mackerel, which is feeding false information to try to make, I guess, your opponents, your opposition look foolish. At least that's
No,
how it felt outlined to me.
that
when
was
I read it.
mine. That was mine. That was mine.
Okay, well, Zabby's the one that people saw posted. I mean, that could be yours. That's fine. I know you
Uh,
talked about Tilly Law backpacking across
Yeah, that
Europe.
was mine. Exactly. That was mine.
The gayest of gay ops. Okay. And Zabby
Exactly.
also spoke of mincemeat, which was the idea of suckering in a larger YouTube to
No,
attack
no,
the alt-right.
no. Mincemeat was the gay op, the one with Tilly Law and the feeding of false information. Zabby's was macro. Zabby's was making a fake server in case leaks happen with faked conversations, faked research, faked accounts, faked everything. So if any leaks were to happen, because he thought there would be leaks at some point, the leaks would be nonsensical.
Okay, well, I mean, I can bring up the
We
video.
decided to kick.
Because there's a screenshot of Zabby talking about mincemeat and showing
I know,
the diagram.
I know there is a screen cap of Sappy talking about mincemeat. That is simply a typo. He was talking about red mackerel. Mincemeat is completely on me. It has nothing to do with Sabby.
Okay, well, I want to show this so people understand what I'm talking about. This is up on
Sure
screen.
thing.
This was the Operation Mincemeat setup, execution. It basically says people who are feeding us info about Edgy are unknown to us and are constantly changing names. They don't buy it, they buy it. And basically it works through a premise of total panic about Thunderfoot, DeFranco, Sargon, and infighting accusations between the alt-right party. Sargon and Thunderfoot begin to make videos.
And who's writing that?
This was posted by Zabby. This was Operation Mincemeat. It talks about the setup.
I have no idea what that is. Like, that just sounds... Okay. Well, I'm pretty sure he will have an explanation for that. But...
Well, you understand how
I
weird
don't know
this
what that
looks
is.
when we get...
I understand that it looks really weird. I'm confused by this as you are describing it to me.
Okay, because this was in the initial video, and it lines up with what ended up happening. Coach Red Pill's information is on your server. That ends up in the hands of the Guardian, who passes it off.
Coach Red Pill's information was never on that server.
Is on your server. It ends up in the hands of the Guardian. The Guardian hands it to King of Pole. It goes on to Kiwi Farms. And then who uses the information that's now publicly available on Kiwi Farms to make a video about Coach Red Pill? Sargon does. And that lines up pretty damn well with Operation Mincemeat, doesn't it?
But that's not how it happened.
That's exactly how it happened. I have the timeline of the exact events of how it happened.
That's how you interpret it happening, but that's not how the Coach Red Pill's information was never on that Discord
on November 3rd, you said excitedly to Zeph in your Discord, I have CRP's real name. On November
That's in a DM.
On November 4th, Jeff Holiday tweets out to CRP, "We'll see how harmless I am soon, Gus." Following that, on a live stream with Worski, when asked about this, Jeff Holiday came out and said, "Yeah, I meant to infer that I know who he was and he should be careful." Then, a week or so later, on November 18th, the information is posted on Kiwi Farms. So we see you have the information. Jeff is bragging about it the very next day. A week and a half later, that information is now publicly available. And then following that, Sargon puts out a video. And it follows in line with Operation Mincemeat of trying to use a bigger YouTuber, feeding them bullshit, getting them scared, making them think there's a war or some weird shit going on, and then having them out and go do a video against somebody you dislike or you have an issue with.
Coach Red Pill's information was never on that server. The thing you're referencing with Zeph is a private message that I sent to Zeph. Someone linked me a Coach Red Pill video. That was the first time I watched a Coach Red Pill video. It was something about Austrian economics, and it didn't make any sense. It was just pure gibberish. I Googled the company at the end of the video, because he ends all his videos with the copyright of a company. I got the billing for the company by the City of London, which showed that it was obviously a fake company, a shell company. It didn't really exist. It didn't make any business. I found his name there. I Googled his name, and the first thing I found was the fraud that he did with the economist Stephen Keen. And I got really excited when I read that. Wanted to make a video on it, wanted to expose it. And the first thing I did, which was retrospectively stupid, I ran around to almost every single big YouTuber I knew and showed them that.
Well,
I went to Zeph.
When we're talking about talking to people about this information, how did Holiday have it the very next day after you had excitedly...
Because I showed it to him. I showed it to him that day.
You told me that you guys weren't really working in concert at this point, that he was just kind of like an
I
ephemeral
told you right
figure.
now. I told you right now. I went to almost every YouTuber. I went to a shit ton of people and showed them this.
It just is a coincidence then
At least 12,
Zeph
12,
and
13,
Jeff
14,
are in that server
15
with you.
people.
But so it's just a coincidence.
That's just a coincidence.
That they're both in the alt-right server with you.
Yeah. It could have just as well been someone of the other 15 or so people who I showed this to who could have made this public.
Crowd, come on, man.
Mm-hmm. Yes?
You don't see when people are looking at this situation, right?
I know it looks bad.
It looks bad because it looks bad because it has to be that way. It looks bad because it is bad.
Does that mean that it have to be that way?
You tried to get
Does it
Rage...
mean that sequence of events is like
Crowd,
that?
You tried to get Rage deplatformed. Jeff talked about how he bullied her. And once again, later on, here we are. This is after Coach Red Pill has made videos basically saying
So
that...
we're going back to Rage now?
I'm establishing a common theme of actions. You've got you two acting together, basically doing the same thing. You're on a stream together talking about how Rage is shit. You're trying to get her deplatformed. Jeff is talking about how he bullied her.
Well, I didn't say that Rage was shit on that stream. I mainly talked about the points that she made in the video. I was the calmest on that stream.
You weren't calm.
I had
You
no.
weren't calm. A few days later when you're
I
trying to get
wasn't
it
calm
thrown
the
off.
few days. Yeah,
Kipper.
I spurged on Twitter.
Right.
I spurg. I have a tendency to spurg.
And then there's Jeff saying you bullied her off of the internet. And now here we have
That's
with the
what
CRP
he
thing.
said about
Here
himself.
we have with the CRP thing, where you're excitedly sharing the information, and it's just a coincidence that once again, here's Jeff Holiday, again, another person in your server. I mean, this is all coming from people in your server. Sandre, Holiday, yourself. Like all these people are involved in this, and that's just a wild coincidence. It just looks bad, but isn't bad.
Well, the reason it got out in the end was because I showed it to the Guardian 001. Don't know if you know him. And you know the gerbil Twitter account?
Yeah, I know who the Guardian is. He ran away. He was the one
Yeah.
that him and Edgy Sphinx were the ones that basically put the majority of this shit out on Twitter.
And he told me that he would get you to make a video on this if I gave it to him. And he took it and
How'd
he sent
that
me a
work out?
screen cap.
How'd that work
That
out?
didn't work out too well.
Yeah.
That didn't work out too well. He posted it in a DM group with you and King of Pool, and what happened is that King of Pool took it and posted it on KiwiFound. I guess that's at least how I see the lines of events.
Now, I'd like to ask you too, and this is again relating to the gay ops, because you're saying it looks bad, but it isn't bad. We've got audio of you having a conversation with David Surratt, and you're talking about information regarding Ryan Falk, alt-hype. And
Yes, the masturbating video.
Yep. But what you said is, I want to hand this information off to your SJW friends to use, to which David responded, no, they aren't in favor of doxing.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think I phrased it like that. I said, if you are going to...
No.
I will not,
You said,
something like that.
I want you to hand this, I want to give you this information.
Did I say it exactly like that?
I mean, we can,
Yeah.
I can pull up the audio, I guess, if you'd like. Hold on.
No, I believe you. If you say that it's that, then that's what it is, yeah.
Yeah, I want to get it into the hands of your SJW friends, and Shitrad said, no, they aren't in favor of doxing.
Yeah.
Again, is this just
And that was
something that looks bad, that you want to take information and hand it off to a group
That
you
was
think
us.
is going to exploit it
That was
and
us.
go after him?
That was a conversation that was us sitting together after we found the video.
Well,
Talking about what do we do
it was
with it.
more than you two. Zeph was there.
Yeah.
He wouldn't have been
And
able to
Liz
record
was
it.
there.
So
A couple of other people were
where
also
did this
there.
conversation take place?
That conversation, I don't know. It could have taken place in my server.
Oh, okay. So these gay ops were running in your server.
And I posted the video in my server. I remember posting the video in my server, which, yeah, was stupid.
But
was a
I
mistake.
guess I'm confused, because you told me the entire point of your server was just to catalog their tweets. So why are you posting why are you posting
No, that
videos
was not
of Ryan
the,
Falk?
that was not the entire point of the server.
Oh, so there
point of
was
the
more
server for
information.
people- the point of the server was for people to communicate with each other, to make videos, to research, to share their videos, and to have conversations. And as it so happened, some of the conversations veered into stupid directions. Like me posting that video, that is a good example of it.
Okay. So when you said earlier that this was just about cataloging tweets to try to come up with a network of how they propagate their information or how they spread their message, that's not entirely true, and you're admitting that now.
Yeah, we also gathered their videos. At least I encouraged people to post the videos that they wanted to respond to, but that's something that only few did. But I wasn't really seeking out personal information. Like the way I found the Ryan Falk masturbation video was I went through his entire catalog of 10 years of videos. I must have watched hours of his videos going back 10 years. And I was working on a video basically trying to showcase to people how his message hasn't changed over the last 10 years. And as I was doing that, I found out that he was driven off the internet once 8 years ago. And when I asked how that happened, I found out that it was because of a video of him masturbating that somehow became public. And I found it fucking hilarious. I will say that. I found it funny in a mischievous way. I downloaded it, I took it, I showed it to a couple of people, I laughed at it.
Now, one thing
wondered if-
I find funny in regards to mischievousness in your server is Ryan Falk later went on to have a live stream where Drolasta and David Surratt were on there, again, both members of your server. He accused him of pedophilia and then said they would be posting evidence of this pedophilia and then never posted any evidence of it.
Yes, and?
Well, I guess what I'm saying, Crowd, is it sure seems like all the people involved in this server have tried to attack people on the alt-right in as many underhanded ways as
That was
possible.
a really stupid thing to attack him on. If there's no evidence of that, it's a serious accusation to make.
Well, yeah,
It's not
yeah,
something that
it's
should be made
it's
lightly.
it's very interesting. Yeah, to accuse him of pedophilia and then not really follow up on it. And then you've got
Yeah.
CRP having his information posted and it's put into a video. You've got all these different, just weird things going. I also noticed too in your server, kind of thinking on what's been going on with Andy Worski, and I didn't really notice this at the time, but Hi, I Think I'm Real was in there, and I know he's repeatedly gone after Ethan Ralph and Andy Worski time after time after time. It just seems like this is a group of people that got together, have a fucking grudge, want to have a war, or crusade, or jihad, and are really willing to do essentially whatever they want. I mean, even as Sargon put it when he talked to you in that Skype conversation, you're using culture war tactics the SJWs use against the alt-right, digging up people's past and trying to smear them is a bad look.
So there's absolutely no reason whatsoever for anyone to go after Ethan Ralph. So, Hey, I Think I'm Real, he couldn't possibly have any other motivations. He couldn't possibly.
Well, I think we know
himself
what his
dislike him.
motivations are. I mean, even Kilroy, the event that basically suckered alt-righters into paying to go to an event to hear alt-right speakers and then canceled those alt-right speakers after collecting the money, the person that organized that, Based Mama, was again another person that was in your server.
Yeah, I'm barely active at all.
I know, but even these barely active people in your server seem to have a hand in a lot of really underhanded shit that seems to target anybody that they identify as alt-right.
I don't know how underhanded Kilroy was. To be honest, I didn't finish your video on it because it didn't make any sense. I don't know how it ties into me.
Let me say this, Crowd. If I were to hold an event and say Kraut and T is coming to speak, and people said, "Oh, I like Kraut and T. Here's $100. Let me get a ticket," and then I said, "Nope, Kraut and T is not coming, but thank you for the money. I don't associate with people like Kraut and T." Would you call that underhanded?
Yeah, I would call that underhanded.
Because that's what Based Mama did when it came to Baked Alaska and James Alsop and a number of other alt-right speakers.
I don't know if she did that. If you say so, I still have to look into that because I haven't looked into that.
You don't vet the people that are in your server.
Well, no, that was actually one of the big problems, I guess, with it, that I didn't vet people. But when it comes to the Kilroy thing, my only connection with it was she sent me a document, I signed it, I sent it back to her. That was it. I had no connection to Kilroy.
Well, I mean, you had to be fair, you do. Here we have
a
group of people.
Up, but what?
Yeah, you signed up. The person that's running it's in your server.
Yeah.
Okay, we're in a server that's basically coming out with gay ops, Operation Mackerel, Operation Tilly Law,
and the one gay op.
And it's all targeting
Mincemeat was Tilly Law. That was the idea of making a fake account, a sock account, impersonating a scientist who is secretly alt-right and feeding bullshit information to JF or Ryan Falk about white matter in brain cells more common in white people. Some obvious bullshit, hoping that they would jump onto it. And if they make a video about it, we would laugh at them. And that was shut down, by the way, because one of the biologists in the server told us that was stupid. He didn't want us to do that. He threatened to leave the server if we did that.
Oh, that was his line in the sand. That's what he said was too far. With all this other shit that's going on, that's the bridge too far for him.
What other shit was going on?
Again, Based Mama running an event to scam alt-righters.
What does that have to do with my server?
That's your server, Crowd.
That is something that I did.
You brought in. These are people you
The
brought in to
Coach Red Pill thing is something that I
alt-right.
did myself. The Coach Red Pill thing is something I did myself.
So it's all on you then, is what you're saying with Coach Red Pill.
The Coach Red Pill thing is completely on me, yes.
100%.
And I don't regret it. The only thing I regret is not making a video on it.
So you
that you would make
You gave the information to King of Pool to put up on Kiwi.
No, I gave it to the Guardian, and the Guardian gave it to King of Pool.
Okay. And it's just
he would be able to confirm that.
It's just a coincidence then that you shared the information immediately with Zeph and immediately with Jeff Holiday, people in your server.
Yes. No, it's not a coincidence. To me, that is just how I am. I found something that I felt was exciting, and I immediately shared it with a shit ton of people.
Right. And now these are still people you talk to. I mean, you're still in contact with people like David Charette. You're still in contact with the Liberal Sanity Project. These sorts of people.
Liberal Sanity Project wasn't in the server.
Oh no, I'm talking about more recent events like Patebin.
Patebin.
Yeah.
Oh yes, that yeah.
So what's your take on that with that event?
My take on that is that a friend of mine was in Ralph's server and he was screen capping the going-ons in Ralph's server. He was basically, he was taking screen caps on whenever people's stocks were dropped, etc., etc. And he noticed that people were talking about flagging Sargon's patron. So he took screen caps of that, he showed them to me and to others, and asked us what to do. And my decision was that this should only go to one place, and that is to Sargon. And that's what we did. We sent it to Sargon because it was, after all, his patron. And that's what we did. And that's what I did. And then a week goes by, and what happens is Charette got frustrated that Sargon didn't call out Ralph. So Charette made a video with screen caps, and he took some of the screen caps from a board.
Now, why would Charette be taking screen caps from a board if he had the primary source?
I don't know why he did that.
Right, that makes no sense, does it? It seems bizarre if you had a primary source.
I think
with
what
the
ended
inside
up happening
information
is
to use
because
secondary information would be bizarre.
I think what ended up happening was we posted the screen caps of that in a DM group, all of them. My friend and a couple of others, the screen caps we found, and he probably also posted the screen cap from the board. And Charette probably saw that screen cap and thought it was the juiciest and put it into his video. And when I saw that screen cap, I thought it was the juiciest too. That's probably it.
Okay.
My involvement ended when the stuff was sent to Sargon, because I believe it only concerns him, or it concerns him the most.
So I just want to understand this. Your friend is in Ralph's server documenting things he says Ralph and his users are doing. He hands this information to you. You hand this information to Sargon. Sargon doesn't do anything and Charette gets frustrated, so he makes a video. But rather than using the primary source that you have provided to everybody, he decides to use screen caps that are on an image board.
I didn't provide them.
So Charette Charette was using, so he got all his information from an image board.
How do you mean he got all his information from an image board?
David Charette made a video. So where did the information in David Charette's video come from?
I would guess it came from the group DM where my friend posted the screen caps.
Okay, so he had the primary source, but he instead decides to add into that secondary information not from the primary person.
I believe my friend posted the screen caps from the board in there.
Why would your friend do that?
Because he found them interesting.
How would he
find them on the boards?
How would he find them interesting if he's the primary source?
Because they're relevant to the conversation. I could go and try to find the thread itself or the group DM itself, but yeah, that's where I would guess that screen cap came from, and made it into David's video.
Because David's video had multiple. It was the same conversation with misspellings, and I mean, you are known to misspell quite a few things. That is kind of a common trait.
I'm definitely the only person on the internet to ever misspell something.
Consistently, you do it quite a bit.
And I'm the only person who consistently misspells.
Yes, but yet this is information passed through...
That's a bit of a stretch.
This is information passed directly through your hands. We're not dealing with 7 billion human beings on the planet Earth. We're dealing with Trout's Discord server, which has a limited amount of people.
I didn't pass it through to Charette. I passed it through to Sargon.
You said group DMs. So, I mean, do you have the group DMs? Can you post them so we can look?
I'm looking for them right now, but it could take a while for me to find them. If I had known that this would come up, I would have probably had them. If you want, I can send them to you retroactively if I don't find them in the right time.
Okay. Are you noticing a pattern of behavior here?
No.
Okay, well, I'll step it back a little bit then. And we'll back up just a little bit to CRP. And what I at least call Operation Mackerel, or whatever the fuck it was, getting an e-celeb to basically do your bidding and go after somebody. Which, in my opinion, and I think the opinions of a lot of people that are watching this, happened to Sargon. He used the information published on Kiwi to make a video on CRP, somebody you and people in your server had an issue with. And now here we are months and months and months, a year later, and it almost seems like the exact same thing is happening. information is passed on to Sargon to get him to do a video on somebody. Except this time, instead of CRP, it's Ethan Ralph.
That was not the intention of what I was sending Sargon. I was not sending this to Sargon for him to make a video on Ralph. I was sending it to Sargon to make him aware of it, because Ralph was claiming that I had flagged his patron.
Right, and it just so happens this information that gets passed along that, Shitrat is basically highlighting in his video happens to be, have misspellings and say Patebin rather than Pastebin. And Shitrat's, as you put it, he was upset Sargon didn't do anything with it. That the Operation Mackerel was a failure.
He was upset that Sargon kept insisting that him getting flagged of patron was... That's from Sherrod's perspective. From his perspective, he was annoyed that Sargon kept blaming the left or social justice or whatever you want to call it, when he felt that it was Ralph's fault. That's how he felt about it. I felt so too, by the way, but I didn't make a video on it.
Okay, but can you see the parallels between what happened with CRP and what almost happened, I guess, with Ethan and Ralph? You don't see that your group is handing off information essentially to get an E-celeb to make a video on somebody you dislike?
No. Well,
you like
when the Guardian told me you would make a video on CRP, maybe that is a case to be made for that there. But if he hadn't promised me that, or if he hadn't told me that that was going to happen, I would have made the video on Coach Red Pill. Because I thought of it as relevant information. And yet, it's not really as much of a dox.
And yet, you didn't make a video on Ethan Ralph. And your operation, your Operation Image Cap that was put out there basically said we need to get a big YouTuber, and the two examples were Sargon and Thunderfoot, to basically make a video to go after these people. Sargon looks like he fell for it once, but didn't fall for it a second time.
That was the goals for the server in terms of, okay, we are making videos here on the alt-right. What measurements do we have on if we have succeeded or not, and if we are doing well or not, and how can we get this to become more popular as a genre? How can we develop this as a genre? And we put up as a goal, maybe if we can get a bigger YouTuber to make a video against the alt-right, that is a good measure of success or not.
Now, I guess I'd like to ask you, as a follow-up to what we've discussed so far, why are you continuing with this? Because it seems to me...
With what?
Well, let me put it this way. I mean, there are two ways to look at it. One, you're malicious and you're doing underhanded shit. Or two, this is all just horrible misunderstandings and weird... Wait, let me finish. And weird coincidences. Either way, you look like shit at the end of the day. So, why are you continuing with this?
Jim, I literally left the internet for 6 months.
And then you came back and went after Black Pigeon Speaks.
What do you mean went after him?
Well, you and your associates seem to have an issue with him and how he fucking...
I made a video on him. I made a video on him and his videos. And why I dislike his channel. Why I dislike the videos.
You left for 6 months to get away from your war against the alt-right and came back to do a war on the alt-right.
Yes. And why do you call it a war on the alt-right?
I'm using Wizard of Coz's terminology. I'm using Sandre's terminology, people that were in your server. A war on the alt-right. So you leave for 6 months and you come back and continue doing the same thing. So why continue with it?
Yes, I kept making videos on that. Well, why not?
Because you're so fucking bad at it, man. It's disastrous. This is what I don't get. I feel like the people around... I'm going to be really honest with you. I feel like the people around you think you're a fucking idiot. And I think they are using you. And I think there's a motivation behind what you're doing. I mean, I legitimately think you dislike the alt-right and people in it. That's fine, whatever. But it seems like they're using you as like their court gesture. You know, like they're using you to go out and do shit and take the heat when things go bad. And you keep fucking letting it happen. Why do you keep letting it happen? Why do you let people like Shitrat and Liberal Sanity Project and Sandre and all these other fucking people who'd call you an idiot in public and talk about how fucking stupid you are? Why do you let them use you like this and continue on with this same fucking group?
I don't feel used by these people in any capacity or way, to be honest. Like, the thing with Nick is purely, he got fucked over for something he had no involvement in whatsoever. Liberal Sanity Project and I just happened to agree on a couple of points, but disagree on a few others, and he worked with me on the Black Pigeon Speaks video. Sandra is Sandra. He's just, severely autistic, but a really nice guy. I don't see there anything of me being used by these people, to be honest.
Okay. How is your YouTube channel doing?
Not too good.
Right. How's your Patreon doing?
Not that good either.
Okay. So you've suffered for this entire debacle.
Yes.
Right. And yet you persist at it. And you persist at it
Yes.
with people that make public statements about what a fucking idiot you are.
Yes.
Do you have any self-respect? Why would you put up with that? Why would you tolerate people acting like that and talking about you like that?
Oh, that's just part of what we do.
You part of what you do is treat each other like faggots?
No. Suffering is just part of life. It's how we learn. It's how we give life meaning. If you're going by that, no, I don't feel deterred by that.
It
can be depressing on occasion.
This is like some philosophical construct of what suffering
No,
is.
it is.
These
has to
these
do
are
with that.
specific
It has to do with that in
individuals.
the
These are specific individuals that seemingly aren't getting as scathed as you are walking away from it much more easily than you are, while you're left there with a giant fucking bullseye on your back and eating shit.
Yes.
You want to be the fall guy.
Well, I am the bigger target of all of them. It's, of course, to be expected that would happen.
No,
I also have an audience of people who would, and I probably gathered a large audience of people who would naturally disagree with the kind of content that I'm doing now if you compare it to the content I did before. So it is to be expected. I can complain about it, but that won't change it.
Okay. Let me try a different approach then. It would seem that this group and their attempts to go after the alt-right have not really succeeded in doing so. In fact, I'd almost say that they've done more damage to themselves, and you in particular, than they have to the people that they've targeted. So even if you put aside the suffering argument, if you really wanted a gay op crowd, like if you wanted to go out there and really fuck with people, this is clearly not the group of people that are going to be successful at doing that. So why would you hang around with people that can't get fucking results?
What do you mean? Do you really think that I just hang around with them to get results?
I would fucking hope so, unless you're a cuck and like getting beaten up by assholes that treat you like shit. I hope you're getting something out of it. I hope there's something.
In most conversations with David, we talk about Fallout New Vegas and stuff like that. It's not just, a YouTube-based thing. We just genuinely have general conversations about whatever. And I don't remember exactly making any kind of collaborative video effort with David. David, for most of the time, works on his own. He is his own type of person. His kind of content doesn't even go along well with mine. I work with Liberal Sanity Project on occasion. I think he's a very talented guy.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Upsetty Spaghetti. Yeah, that whole Black Bitch Speaks thing, really, that was a gangbuster success. I mean, you guys criticized him for not using citations on YouTube. I mean, even first off, the whole idea of not having citations on YouTube videos is fucking dumb to begin with. Secondly, you're arguing with a guy that's almost autistic about putting citations on his fucking videos. Like, if you click on that guy's descriptions of shit, the majority of the time you're going to find links or just outright multiple links to the shit he's talking about. So, I mean,
he links to the article. He links to the articles he verbatim reads. He links to the article he verbatim reads. Yes.
Yeah, well, you're in the.
It's lazy.
Yeah, well, that's half of YouTube. Crowd. Why not
really?
Make a?
Well, that speaks very negatively of YouTube. Then, if they can't even phrase what they say in their own words, if they just verbatim read articles.
And so this is what I don't understand. You go away for 6 months after this shit blows up in your face. You come back to the same group of idiots that can't get results and fuck you over. You go after Black Pigeon Speaks for a dumb reason that looks stupid. And meanwhile, all this is going on. The whole Pate Bin thing's fucking blowing up. Like there has to be a point where you reach a threshold of punishment, where you reach a threshold of anger, and you realize that the people you've surrounded yourself with don't have your best interest in mind.
What makes you think that this is solely the product of the people I surround myself with? Like, the Black Pigeon Speaks video was partially worked out with other people, but
I would
for
use
the most
your own admissions, especially when it came to the initial videos that you put out about the alt-right is too stupid for. The 3 or 4 videos that you pumped out. What did you say?
Yeah.
This isn't just my work. These are what they're telling me, and then I'm putting it in my words to put it into a video. Every attack that you've gone on against the alt-right has been influenced by these people. I have yet to see you put an original project out.
But who did I work with? Who did I work with on those first videos?
Was Sandre one of them? Because he was shit talking.
Sandre, Jajone,
yeah,
the Doctorand.
So Sandre was one of them, and he was calling you a fucking imbecile and laughing basically with
Wizard of Oz. That's what he does. That's what he does. He's an autist. He likes to laugh about people. He talks like this about people. That's how he is.
I just feel like you've dug yourself into such a deep hole, man. I just don't get it. I really don't. And it's not even that I'm telling you can't go fuck with people on the alt-right if you really are that dedicated to it. But you need to fucking change tactics or get a better crew of people to do it with, because they treat you like shit and they don't ever get anything done.
I'm perfectly fine with just making videos, to be honest. I don't see what other tactics should apply there. I'd rather continue just making my videos.
It just seems like you're a glutton for punishment. And I think that leads me into one thing I'm dying to ask you about. It's been brought up.
Yeah, sure.
And I need to get your take on this, because I've heard you answer this multiple times in different ways. You talk about, the whole split dick meme. Now, I've heard 3 fucking stories from you about how this happened. You posted about it on an image board saying you had a girl kick you in the balls so hard that it split your cock in half. You had another one where you were working at some wood shop place that ended up having a piece of the machinery fly off and hit you in the cock. And then there was another one, I think, involving an axe. So is this even a true story?
No.
Is this even a true story? And why are there multiple versions of it?
There's 2 true stories to that. That's why there's multiple versions.
You cut your dick in half twice?
No, you're mixing up 2. Like, the one is the injury at the workplace. The other one was at school, where, yeah, I was bullied as a kid and I got a kick between the legs. And it wasn't my dick that was hurt. I got the, I don't know what the English word is when the balls twist and swell up to 2 times their size and you have to go to hospital and get it fixed. The other one was a workplace accident, yeah.
You were so unlucky. Come on, man.
Don't tell me you never had an injury in your life.
I've never had a piece of machinery cut my cock in half and then have a girl stomp on it till it reopens. No.
It wasn't a piece of machinery. It was, I worked at a lumber mill. They had the machine there which scrapes the bark of the logs. And my job was with a scraping knife or with an axe, depending on what I used, to climb on the logs and chip off any remaining bits of bark. And I was climbing on a log, I was chipping off bark, and I slipped, I fell off, and I yanked the axe into my crotch. That's what happened.
Okay. All right.
And I cut, yeah.
Okay.
You didn't even, you left out the funniest part, which is the next day I woke up in a puddle of blood because I had a morning boner that ripped the stitches open. So it's a funny story. I see how it's funny. I'm amused by it. I tell it to people all the time.
I think you're fucking masochist. I mean, that's the only explanation I can come up with. I think that's the only explanation as to why you tolerate the people that around you doing the shit they're doing. Grout.
I don't see the people around me doing anything that would validate that kind of claim.
I do, and I think a majority of people do. And I know you hate the alt-right, and you think that there's some political divide that makes all opinions fall into a left or right spectrum. Fine. But I think there are enough impartial observers out there that would look at this situation and say, boy, that Kraut guy's sure getting fucked over. Why does he keep going back to this group of retards?
I don't see the results of what is happening. Like, I don't see what is happening to me as the result of hanging around a certain group of people, to be honest. I really don't.
I don't know.
Because most of it is my work. Like, most of the videos I do are my work. I have no control over what Sharad does.
All right. Well, like I said, you've said repeatedly you wanted a chance to clear the air about this. I feel like I've been fair. I've given you a chance to speak.
Yes.
And show the information. I'm going to be honest with you. After talking with you and going over this, I don't believe what you're saying. I do believe there were malicious intents. I do believe you and Holiday worked to do a lot of this shit. And I'm being really dead honest with you. Take it for what it's worth. You can cast it aside if you want to. The people around you right now, Kraut, are fucking you over harder than you can imagine. And if you ever really want to get at the alt-right or even do anything that's going to have any impact on the internet, whether it's just stupid comedy videos or serious shit, you need to ditch them because they are going to drown you. They are dead weight that is going to drag you under and drown you.
Okay. That is any more advice.
No, that's that. I just wanted to say my piece. I'll give you the last word here since you came on. Whatever you want to say to close it out, and then that'll be it. Well, go ahead.
I'm fine. Perfectly fine. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. All right. Take it easy.
Bye.
Lord have mercy. That poor lost little lamb. Well, chat, I I don't know what to tell you. I do not know what to tell you. I think I think Crowd's getting fucked and he just doesn't see it coming. I think that server was dirty as shit. The paste bin thing being a coincidence, that's a little bit too much of a coincidence. The passing it off to Sargon to get him to make another video falling in line with the op macro thing is just a little bit too much of a coincidence. The, finding it and bragging about finding the information and then it suddenly is on Kiwi and it's getting made into a video is just a bit too much of a coincidence. Holiday, who associates with him, bragging about trying to intimidate CRP by dropping information and saying, oh, I know who you are, it's just too much of a coincidence. Them, all going after Rage at the same time, and Holiday admitting afterwards that we bullied her off the internet, just too much of a coincidence. Too many coincidences. Too many parentheses going on here for me to be comfortable with. But I was fair. I let the man speak his piece. Let him come on and say what he wanted to and bring up whatever evidence that he wanted to bring up. Sadly, that was a video of a server that's not related to the server we're talking about. But what are you going to do? You want a poll? What poll do you want, chat? I see people calling for a poll. Okay. I know what I'll ask. Let's do this. There you go, chat. Is Trout innocent? Is he a good boy who's just in the middle of a giant misunderstanding? Or is he a dirty boy? Did he do naughty things? You're going to have to smash your pass. Too late for that. We went with yes or no. You should have told me earlier. I'd have fucking thrown it up. Trout is a good boy. Well, hopefully Trout can see the results. He wanted to see results. I'm going to say no, he is not innocent. But we'll see how it goes. I see 58 have put it. They do believe Trout is innocent. I'm glad to see the entirety of his Discord is watching the stream. Hello to you all. I'm glad you could join us. I hope you enjoyed the show. Good God. Why even leave the internet for 6 months? What was the point of disappearing for 6 months to come back and then do the exact same thing? Literally the exact same thing. To go after the alt-right and go after Black Pigeon Speaks and then go after Ethan Ralph, and you've got primary source information coming from a person on the inside, as you claim, and yet when you're making a video about it, you're not using that primary source, you're getting secondary information from an image board? That doesn't make any sense at all. If you're a fucking reporter and you've got the guy that's on the inside telling you all the details, why would you then, instead of using that information, just go out on the street corner and say, hey, assholes, somebody want to tell me what's going on in there? I'll throw it in the fucking article next to the guy who's actually on the inside. Because fuck it, I don't give a shit. It's not like I'm trying to do a sane job here. And I did adhere to my my agreement. Turned off super chats, turned off donations and stickers and all that shit. None of that was present on the stream. I kept my word that I would not make a nickel off of this and give Trout his opportunity to come on and speak his piece, even though I don't really believe what he said. It's just it's too coincidental. The timelines are a little too much. I mean, you go onto a stream with Holiday to talk about Rage. 4 days later, you're contacting the person that's employing her, essentially. I mean, whatever, letting her write or work for UKIP. A day after that, UKIP is talking about getting rid of her. A day after that, Soledad O'Brien's talking about it. Now, all these reporters that are always kind of sniffing around this group is very bizarre. Talking about the New York Times people in the Discord server, talking about Soledad O'Brien paying attention to fucking Kipper Central with 500 followers. That makes no sense. Jared Holt always seemingly around to write about the things that are going on. Ethan Ralph with his charity stream, shit like that going on. It's just too many coincidences going on. Oh, I should update the poll results. Let's see where we're sitting. 110 believe Trout is a good boy who did not do nothing. 1,948 though believe he is guilty of sin. So I mean that's 5%. Well, it's not 5%. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's 5%. Congratulations, 5% believe you, Trout. Though I suspect a good amount of them are sitting in your Discord. If I had to be honest with you. Well, how am I responsible for Jeff Holiday? Well, he was the one working on the fucking project with you, and he was in all those Discord calls with you, and all the leaked calls Zeph put out with you. I don't know. I don't know why you talk about him. And Jeff Holiday's the one running around with the CRP's information, bragging about it. I don't know. It makes you think. Makes you go, Holy shit. Well, there you go. Told Trout I'd give him a fair shake. I gave him a fair shake. Let him speak. Let him say what he wanted to say. Let him show what he wanted to show. And there you are. What a gay afternoon. I'm going to go play Resident Evil. And then, the next morning stream I do, we'll go look at more Sonic fans spurging out. Something far more interesting than whatever the fuck this was. I was really hoping he'd have some kind of evidence. He'd bring something to the table to exonerate himself. Some revelation. I don't even know if he's going to take my advice, but this is the most honest you'll ever hear me, Trout. Those people are going to drag you down. You really need to find more competent individuals because they have failed repeatedly at what you're attempting to do. And there are always leaks. God, the amount of OPSEC this group has is fucking pitiful. Just fucking pitiful. All right, chat. You enjoy your Sunday afternoon. Go to church. Go do whatever you're going to do. I know it's a little in the afternoon. Go watch football. I don't know what the fuck you're up to. I'm going to go play Resident Evil. I'm going to go have some fun. I will see you on the next morning stream. I'll let a song play us out. Let's see, what song can I let play us out? Oh, I know. The most fantastic of fucking songs. There you go.